Diamonds are clearly the most famous of all the gemstones. But if you think about it, it is not obvious why. There are thousands of gems. Some are beautifully colorful, and they're all way less expensive than a diamond. Yet, a diamond still is the most unique and precious gift. But what is so special about diamonds? All the other gems are made out of a combination of elements, but a diamond is made out of only one material: carbon. Diamonds formed under the Earth's crust between 3.5 and 1.5 billion years ago, and eventually emerged in some areas of the planet. More than 2,000 years ago, people started using diamonds to enrich their accessories, and since then, diamonds' popularity grew and they became synonymous with social status. The growing demand for those shiny stones has now found an alternative supply source: lab-grown diamonds. They have the same properties and visual appeal, but do they have what it takes to disrupt the real diamonds market? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Material Pioneers. This is the third season, and it's all about materials. Today, we have with us John Ciraldo. He is CTO at Lab Grown Diamond, and is going to talk with us about, what it means to make diamonds nowadays. Hello, John. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing?
Good, good. We are in the Netherlands, and where are you?
I am just outside of Washington, D.C.,
Oh,
U.S.
sounds great. So, can you tell us a little bit about what are these lab-grown diamonds?
Yeah, for sure. Essentially, they are just diamonds, functionally the same as what comes out of the earth. The only difference is our mines are above ground. That's really about it.
And yeah, just why do you grow diamonds, and how does this process make diamonds a little bit more sustainable or affordable?
Yep. I'll touch on a little bit of how we make it and why it's more sustainable, and then we can talk about affordable. Um, so we make them in a. There's two ways to make diamonds above ground. There's what's called the high pressure, high temperature process, otherwise sometimes referred to as a Superman technique. You squeeze a diamond, squeeze carbon, and make a diamond. Uh, and then there's CVD, chemical vapor deposition. So HPHT replicates what happens in the earth. Make carbon very hot, high temperature, and let it crystallize in the diamond structure. CVD sort of bypasses that process. It's at a lower pressure, and the idea is to sort of destroy other phases and let diamond come out as a stronger phase in the process. It's functionally different. We do CVD. Um, it's more sustainable fundamentally because we're only producing diamond, right? So in the earth, you have a lot of material, and some of it's diamond, and you have to dig deep into the ground. You have to grind a lot of material. You have to do a lot of processing. This is a very intensive process. It takes as much as a couple of tons of material just to get a carat of diamond. So you're grinding through all this rock and this material, digging it up, creating these huge pits in the earth, versus just growing this thing very purely. So it's just a more efficient process is really what it boils down to. And why is it more affordable? Kind of the same, because we have an efficient process. We have an efficient way of making them. We can make many at a time, and we grow them to suit what we're producing. So it's just fundamentally it's more efficient.
Okay, so it's more efficient, it's more sustainable. It you cut on a lot of different steps of the process. But is it the same? Do people feel like it's the same?
Um, I'm a scientist, obviously, so for me, it's a very quantifiable thing. You have some carbon atoms in a certain arrangement, whether it be grown above ground or grown below ground, it's still the same carbon atoms in the same arrangement, right? So of course it is the same. As far as how people feel, yeah, I would say that the majority of people do feel the same. There are some people who cling to this idea of it's been dug out of the ground. Um, I think that's more partially of marketing, frankly. And that opinion is changing as that marketing is becoming less effective, realistically. Oh yeah, the reaction I've seen in people who've looked at our diamonds, the reaction in people who purchase our diamonds is very smiley. They like what they see. Yeah, I think they have the same impact. They're
And like
beautiful, you know.
we've seen that over the past years. I mean, diamonds are all about luxury. I mean, that's the idea of a lot of people have about diamonds. That is a luxury, is a gift, is something extremely special. Usually, wedding rings or like um, marriage proposals have been happening thanks to diamonds. And my question is, do these diamonds have an impact on the luxury industry, and what is the impact? Is it going somewhere different?
That's a great question. The diamonds we produce, they're obviously as beautiful. They still have a rarity to them. It's not something that is mass produced and easy to produce. Whether it's grown above ground or below ground, there's still rarity. There's still specialness to this material. It's a unique material. It's an interesting material. It's a beautiful material. And so in terms of how it's changing that industry, it's not changing it in the jewelry we're making, right? The jewelry is still just as beautiful. It's still special, and the rarity still exists. In fact, the vast majority of stones today are still mined diamonds. There's a small percentage in our lab. We expect that to grow, but they're still quite rare. What is changing is the impact. Um, we're producing a more sustainable product, more ecologically friendly product, and people appreciate that. It's changing sort of the perception of diamonds from something that maybe has some negative implications to something that is really purely positive and that you can feel good about. You don't have to sort of settle for I love this thing and it's beautiful, but I feel bad about how it came about. You can enjoy this beautiful thing without sort of those negative impacts. But in terms of how it looks in the jewelry or how the jewelry is made, I don't see that changing. I certainly haven't seen any changes to date, and I don't think we will.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was thinking, and that's why when I met you and I started thinking about lab grown diamonds, I immediately connected it to lab grown meat because, of course, it's a different industry, but somehow it's really connected. So there is a positive side of it that means that people really enjoy wearing diamonds, buying diamonds, and yeah, eating meat and having like leather products. It's been there forever, basically.
Sorry.
Uh, but on the other hand, it has a very, very negative impact on society, on sustainability, on, in this case, human rights treatment and everything. So it's a very difficult balance, as you mentioned. But I think there is a strong connection between these two industries, between the fact that they've they've been they are being disrupted by this lab grown materials. So what do you think? Do you think this is gonna really have an impact on society, and on like how people think about these materials, or do you think this is gonna just become the norm?
Yeah, I mean, really, we're part of a larger discussion. You talked about the lab made meat, and that's a good example. And you can find all kinds of examples where we're taking the products we make and trying to make them more friendly to future generations, right? I mean, that's a fundamental idea there. Um, that I don't think we see a lot of change in the product because it's part of a bigger conversation, and we'll see this in every product where we trying to make ourselves more ecological. Lab made meat. Cars becoming electrified. And everywhere we can, we're going to improve the impact of the things we make, and we'll continue to do that. Um, it changes impressions, and hopefully, as we see that we can do this without sacrifice, there'll be a broader adoption of these changes, less reluctance to embracing more ecological solutions, right? I think that's a little bit of hesitation now. Is lab made meat's a good example. The reluctance to you'll find, I think, in the future, in people adopting lab made meat is convincing them that it can be the same, right? we've kind of gone through that process with diamonds. At first, there was a lot of hesitation with jewelers. Will it be the same? Will it have the same impact? Some of the questions you brought up, and that's over time is sort of bedded out. People become more comfortable with the product. They'll become more comfortable with lab-made meat. They'll be comfortable with electric cars. They'll be comfortable with these changes that are happening. But it's really part of this larger conversation of what can we do with materials, with science to not change how we live, but to make the way we currently live more sustainable. So it's all positive.
Yes, well, it feels like we're gonna become able to keep our lifestyle somehow, but still like being able to change the way things are made. So, and this is also one of the reasons why with Material Pioneers we really try to find like companies like the one you work for and some organizations that are really trying to like disrupt the boundaries between what is possible and what is sustainable. And I have the feeling that with the lab grown diamonds, we're really taking a step forward because this industry is not only about having a beautiful gem, but it's also about really making a big change toward the way we make things. And in this case,
That's
making
right.
them in lab is really a great proof that we can change everything in the way we make them. And yeah, it sounds beautiful. And I really hope that more industries will take this leap of faith and really try to make things in the lab more and have the same beautiful results that you have with yours.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we'll see that as we go forward more and more. We'll see more adoption of environmental practices. Certainly, the consumer is growing increasingly concerned and motivated to make conscientious purchases. That's really the best way to influence the people who make products, right? It's with the dollar you spend. So yeah, I think it's a real positive future there.
Well, thank you so much, John, and we'll we'll keep in touch, and we'll definitely follow up on your company and to see how you go with growing diamonds above Earth. And it was a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much, and
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks.